In 1994, Rwanda faced its darkest hour. 30 years later, it is 2024. President Paul Kagame has a message to Africa and the world. Let's listen. Let's find out why.
The world of today, we are used to being told that, people have interest. It's no longer facts. It's no longer evidence. It's no longer whether it is right or wrong. It is interest. So if somebody has interest in the one threatening me, more interest in that than me, then you know you are on your own. So Rwanda has been on its own. We have tested it, we know it. So we're not scared, not threatened by the possibility that at one time we will be on our own again. So we should always be prepared. And we are used to working on the worst case scenario, where at any other time we might be on our own. And when we are left to be on our own, we will own up and we will survive even better than last time.
That's the word from President Paul Kagame. I don't know what you think. Share your comments below. But the world has increasingly become a global village. Is Rwanda going to stand on its own? Should Rwanda stand on its own? And face what they faced? It's a difficult history. But it is clear what President Paul Kagame is talking about. That at the hour of need, the international system failed the people of Rwanda. The international system, the UN, and its mandate to keep peace and not interfere was one thing that obviously played a major role into the escalation, that they were not able to rein in the forces, the internal forces that were at play that decimated lives within 100 days, hundreds of thousands killed. It's a difficult thing to think about, a difficult history for Rwanda. But as a member of the East African community, I think East Africa joins Rwanda in remembering this. Not a place you'd want to go back to. Africa has a responsibility to its brothers and sisters as members of the continent of the African Union to ensure that we don't slide into these kind of scenarios. But oftentimes, sadly, even after what happened in Rwanda, across many other African countries, we have experienced war to the magnitude that civilian life has been lost and economies have been destroyed over time. West Africa is a case in example. West Africa has had challenges through the decades. But the message is very subtle, and to those who can read between the lines, the big question is, the important question here for us is, should Rwanda ever have gone it alone? And should going it alone even be a thought again? Africa, where it sits today, needs to rally behind nations that go through a difficult time. The AU mandate on the continent needs to rein in, but perhaps there's a bigger message there that African countries are taking too long to unite, are failing to see the bigger picture. Rwanda itself already has opened its borders to African citizens to travel to Rwanda without the need for a visa?
An African can get on a plane to Rwanda whenever they wish and will not pay a thing to enter our country.
I think this is unprecedented. This is the first time that any African country has shown this kind of gesture to brotherhood on the continent. So if Rwanda is embracing the rest of Africa, Africa needs to wake up. Unless there's a thinking that, Rwanda is 50, 100 years ahead of the rest. Africa needs to wake up. Julius Malema has been on this for the longest time.
There is no Mozambique here. There is no Swaziland here. There is no Lesotho here. There is no Botswana here. Zambia or Namibia. There is no Zimbabwe. There is Africa, the continent of our ancestors.
That we need not be seeking permission to enter the borders of other countries. Africa has one border referred to as Africa. And ideally, that is what should be recognized. But Africa is seemingly moving too slow on this matter. What are your thoughts on this topic? What are your thoughts on what President Kagame is talking about? But most importantly, do we still need borders when countries like the EU, the citizens can move freely? America is one big swath of land. They have states, but really, those are very equivalent to African states. Is it time that we make that change? Let's make Africa our business. Kindly subscribe, share, and ring that bell so that we can connect the rest of Africa to the diaspora, the rest of Africa to Africa within the continent. That has got to be our mission. If you subscribe, it will help us build even better, present more content, have the power to be able to create more stories that build and rejuvenate the continent of Africa. This is Africa, our business. I want to thank you for your time, and we'll see you again at the next